This is Perfect 10, issue number 5, and of course I'm Joker the Fool, so we're going to review this. Of course, I've done an overview of Perfect 10. I reviewed Perfect 10 issue number 4, and I've always loved this series from Genuine Comics. Of course, that's Dave Brinks in print. I believe he's from the Netherlands, but he has a really good understanding of what makes American comics good, and of course he works with an absolute star team of artists, Pal Rodrigues being the main artist for this book. And of course, the inks, Thiago Gomes is working in on the inks, who's done work on the Horseman, I believe. Of course, other Rippaverse art. And the art in this book is absolutely fantastic, but that's always been the case for basically everything from Genuine Comics. The art has always been an absolute marvel to look at. I would say even pure perfection, I would say, especially these 2-page spreads. Now, this is an issue where you've got a big conflict between the Prime Syndicate and the Meta Marshals of Division M. And that does make the story a little bit hard to wrap your head around, but you've got this grand overarching plot. Of course, you've got the story of 10 in issue number 4. She remembers who she is completely. She gets out of this amnesia, and that's really dealing with the fallout of this while having this big epic battle go down. So it's hard to know every single character, and since these issues are about 30 or so pages, and a lot of it is focused on characterizing 10. And the earlier issues were focused on giving characterization to Virgil, the creator of 10. These characters kind of get lost in the mix a little bit, but their character designs are very easy to digest. Daniel Rodriguez does a great job of coloring everything, and of course, Pau and Thiago give great line work for him to work with, and the lettering is absolutely fantastic as well. All the layouts are good, even on pages like this where there's a lot of text. It's still really easy to read. Nothing feels really awkward to read outside of maybe like one bit of text that kind of didn't flow correctly. But other than that, it's a really nice reading experience. It's an absolutely fantastic book to flip through. And of course, you've got plenty of action. Character designs all look fantastic. These are all attractive, pure specimens of humanity. Of course, some are like mutants as well, but they're all very attractive and nice to look at for the most part. Of course, there is a lot of gory stuff that goes on in this book, but it is an absolutely fantastic book, and it really sets the reader up for what is going to happen next. So this is a big culmination of what's been going on in the first few issues, and it does really feel like 10's story has gotten started, and now things are really going to progress with that 6th issue. And of course, the Genuine Verse is a lot of other characters associated with it. You've got Power Trip, you've got Dream Girl, you've got Earthling. There's a lot of other characters that Dave Brink wants to explore. I think 10's story should be the focus of that, and it feels like really getting into 10's story with the fact that she now has gotten over her amnesia, and she seems to be willing to make a very shaky alliance with Division M. That's going to be very interesting to see how her character develops further. And of course, all the conflict she's inevitably going to get into. And again, like I said, these 2-page spreads are just really epic to look at. And nothing feels confusing to look at, which is really surprising. Like, look at all the stuff that goes on in this page. But Pau does such a great job of the layouts, of how everything's drawn, of the amount of detail is just right. It doesn't feel like there's too much detail where you'll get lost in it, but there's enough for you to be able to tell everything that's going on in this page. So, absolute master of the medium of comic book art, and especially shown in these 2-page spreads. So, Dave really had a grandiose vision of this battle. How brought it to life absolutely, and it really primes the reader for, like I said, the aftermath. And if I can show, again, it's the climax, and you see on the cover with her getting her suit from Glitch. Absolutely fantastic designs. Absolutely love every drawing of 10. And you've got all these really epic spreads. And again, getting ready for the aftermath, the next big, I would say, transition of 10's story, the next phase of her story, if you will, arc, if you want to use that term. All absolutely fantastic stuff from the 5th issue, really living up to the name Perfect. Don't really have much to say in terms of bad things about what Genuine Comics does. Printing is always really high quality, art is fantastic, and Dave has got all these stories bouncing around in his head, and he's working with the right people to bring them to life. So check out the Genuine Comics website. Be sure to pick up Perfect 10 and some other stuff. Of course, I've got reviews of Power Trip, and I've reviewed American Bliss as well. I liked everything they've put out so far. Got more reviews from Genuine Comics that are going to be in the pipeline. So like I said, check out the link in the description for Genuine Comics because they need more support, because more comics like Genuine Comics should really exist. And I have everything in the local comic book shop that was coming out on a monthly basis was at the caliber of Genuine Comics, and I would be at my LCS a lot more often than I am, I would tell you that. But that's all I have for this review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Joker is out.
Thank you for stopping by the Velvet Room. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep up with Velvet Room Publishing. And go to velvetroompublishing.com if you want to go even deeper into the Velvet Room.